All right, so we are going to discuss the NetOps backend roles and daily duties. We'll start with the SharePoint, like where we have the SOP for that. We will get the SOP on our NetOps library in internal and SOPs, then going to non-technical and this one, NetOps backend rules and daily operation. I have it open here. So this SOP layouts the procedure for backend members performing the monitoring and troubleshooting and scheduling the maintenance. And that's pretty much of it that we have. While scheduling the maintenance is a very critical part of it, and is kind of a very like a set process where troubleshooting has some kind of different processes. Uh, Network alerts, like to begin with, we'll start with the network alerts and monitoring. So every controller has its own network alert section, or it has its alert section. Uh, to begin with, let's get an example of this is SSOL LAN tower property site that we manage, and was recently we start managing this. And if you go into this system log, you're gonna find all the alerts here. Um, Pretty much, if you see an alert, the first thing that we should be doing is going back to the SharePoint, and there is a NetOps lists section on the pages listed here, and we go to alert tracker. You or the backend should be adding a new item with the alert ID. You can leave it alone. Server location, where is the, like, this is mostly the controller name that the alert is on, and alert category. Now, what kind of alert do we see? Is it an outage, or it's a like a rogue device or a disconnected device? Complete network outage means no, like you cannot see anything on the network. Everything is offline. Disconnected or rogue devices means you see a device that you don't identify, or you see a disconnected device like a switch or access point. Could be a PDU as well. Devices are online with alerts. Now, sometimes you will see devices are there with alerts, like maybe they have rogue DHCP, maybe some kind of latency experiencing, or a device that should be working on a GBE uplink, that is a 1 gig uplink, is not utilizing the 1 gig, is has been, has fallen back into 100 Mbps, that is fast Ethernet link, some kind of that. And ISP, if it's a known ISP outage, or it's like you're missing packets, or it can also be like a latency issue, right? System firmware means like there were alerts that there were critical firmware failure or firmware upgrades that the system wants, and you cannot really do the upgrade for any reason. Like, it's once you're doing the upgrade, it comes back to the existing firmware version, something like that. Okay. So these are the categories of the alerts. Now, there are some automations working in order to identify how many alerts are being cumulative. So you can literally leave this cumulative frequency as it is. Last alert also you can leave it blank. Network name is something you have to put it manually, and it's the same network name that we found. So if we are getting an alert for this LAN tower SSOL, then we select this LAN tower SSOL and put it on that network name inside the SharePoint list. This list is, as it says, the tracking of the alerts that we get in our daily working day. Now, the we are looking back into 15 days. For now, the policy is set so that if you add alert within 15 days with the same network name, it's going to increase the cumulative frequency to more than one. Uh, Currently, we don't have any. Maybe that's why you're like, yeah, you see, this is three. So if you look back into, you will find that three times the same alert was created, or the same network was having some alert that was recorded within a span of 15 days from the primary alert. Okay. For some reason, the alert ID is not populating, but yeah, you will see more cumulative frequency here. Sometimes the automation is not working. We'll fix that very soon. So that brings us to the alert. Now, what do you do when you see an alert? You try to, like, if it's a ISP and you need to contact the ISP, or you just monitor it for some time, some hours, and then open the first thing is open the client's profile in Autotask and see that if there are existing tickets that is referring to some kind of network issue or a similar kind of alert ticket that has been created recently. If there is no ticket, you first go and create the ticket. After you see that the network devices are not back online in an hour or so. The ticket issue is audit, and the sub issue is networking, Unify, Meraki, etc. And it's pretty much listed there. And you can use this ticket request link in order to generate the request. Pretty much name of the caller should be your team lead, title of the caller also your team lead, telephone of the caller your team lead, email of the caller is your team lead, company and property should be whatever the thing is. So let's put some random values and hit the next to see. So you put the issue title, and this is the ticket title. It should be description or whatever description you have about the issue. Priority is set to normal or high, depends. Like if you see some kind of thing that is not highly like impacting the client, like it's maybe a latency issue or something, you can put it on low. Otherwise, if it's a complete network outage, you put in high. If you see something like which can be dealt, needs your attention definitely, but it's not as high as, like, it's not affecting the primary networks or something, you can put it on high. Issue type and all such things is, as we discussed previously, is networking, and issue, it's audit, sorry, not networking. Sub issue is like data networking, if it's data network, or Meraki audit, something like that, or Unify audit. You will find it here, Unify audit, so on and so on. Again, let's put some random values to pass this page. Hit next. Assign to, it should be your name, the backend technician's name, and secondary resources if needed. Normal is not needed, but in case you need somebody to have add a secondary resource, you can add it and then hit submit. This is going to shoot an email to service desk, and they are going to create a ticket as soon as they, like, it's first come first serve, so they will receive tickets from multiple sources, and once it's your turn for this ticket to be created, they create the ticket, they push it into your queue, and they should send you an email. All right, so any questions or queries?
So far, so good.
Okay, all right. So the tickets open, the necessary troubleshooting steps is varied scope. We can do pretty much a lot of things from the backend. We do not contact the customer. So backend are not supposed to contact the customer in any scenario, unless it is you have the information from, or you have the instructions from your hierarchy, your team lead, or your supervisor. And as per as the limitations to work on a ticket, you have up to 2 hours to work on the ticket, and then you should at any situation you should move it to an analyst. And there is a process of escalation which will be covered in a different video. It is recommended to consult analyst when you reach 1.5 hours, so that if analysts can give you some insights like do this and do that, you get that one further half an hour to implement those steps and bring back the network if it works. Like within 1.5 hours, you should be clear enough that if this ticket is solvable by you or this issue is solvable by you or not. If it's not, then move it to analyst. And the issue is resolved. Obviously, we'll close the ticket. Or if you close the ticket, that's gonna move that ticket under supervisor review with your resolution and all such things updated, and it should move to the team leader that you're reporting to. That's all for network alert monitoring. The next thing that the backend does every day is maintenance. Now, maintenance is mostly done on sites that are newly installed. And if during any kind of troubleshooting, you find that that particular network is missing the rules to upgrade or update. So obviously, we create a ticket. Do not work on this kind of issue without having a ticket open under no circumstances. And you should be creating the schedule. I'll just quickly go through the same network and we'll go through the schedule that has already been created. So you go to system. First, you go to settings from the controller, you go to system. You go to advanced, and then you see this update schedule or schedule. This is like firewall, switch, and AP. Now we have a half an hour gap in each so that the upgrading does not coincide. And if the firewall upgrades at the same time the switch does, and the firewall goes into reboot first, the switch is going to fail. Like there's a possibility that it's going to fail. And same with the AP. So with the topologies step, like the stages of topology, you should have a half an hour gap minimum, just to be on the safe side. And also the naming scheme is a part of the same thing. Like we have the abbreviated version of the customer name, hyphen the device type, firewall, switch, AP. And if there are multiple of one device, you add a 01, 02 as suffix to this. And the location, which is very, very important. Any device on the network should not be without a location. If you have any confusions with the location for those devices, you should be going back to the technician or the team lead who has installed the network. Right? This is pretty much you do for scheduling the maintenance. Also, there is a part where data, now this comes under the projects mostly because which is we do it on like when there is a new installation, post new installation. So this I'll come back to 3 later. And step 1 is set up the maintenance schedule as we discussed. Update device alias names, that is also discussed. So this is the generic format: client name, initials, device type, device location. And device type, if there is multiple of some of similar devices, you have to have a numeric suffix to that, like 01, 02, and so on. We also have a unified portal inside our RMM where we monitor all the networks. Like we're starting to do that. And this is SOP. The link is attached here, is gonna pop up this SOP for you. Let me zoom in a bit. This is like a different service, and it's called a network device license. So if you should always look into the number of network device license you have, and then kind of or like if you have 5 network device license, you should add 5 network devices to that networking monitoring tool. We will see the process soon. And like if you have any kind of anomalies or mismatch, then you should be not using the NDLs for excess devices. Like if there is 5 NDLs and you see 6 devices on the controller, technically you should not add the 6th device. Preferably you should add the most important device, and the least important device you should leave it, and then come back to your TL and say that this is a problem that has been happening. All right. Ping, right. Prepare the network, go to the hardware under network static IP. Okay. So before you add the devices, make sure all your devices or all the devices you are on your thinking of adding has a static IP. The firewall is always a static, but other than the firewall, everything should have a static IP. If you have any confusions, again, always reach out to your team lead or a senior technician to help you with this. So we did the static IP. We close attention to current IP DHCP server, use the same IP address and send notifications. That's fine. You can use the same IP that is currently assigned to that in order to like prevent any kind of discontinuation on the service. DNS, it should be the unified gateway, and the second DNS should be the Google DNS 8.8.8.8. We have the screenshots attached here just for reference. We are now, I want to say that this is only for Unify for Meraki and Omada. For other devices or other OEMs, the steps are but different as the interface is different. So that's all. Like we are just explaining what needs to be done, referring to the Unify. Same thing needs to be done on Omada or Meraki, but the steps are a bit different. And the interface is different, as I said. Go to the controller settings, integration, enable SNMP. Now, SNMP is a protocol that helps you report, and especially the switches use that. So always add the SNMP into the controller settings. We have the SNMP shared in our Zoho. We use the version 2, and this is the SNMP details that you have here. This will be shared by your team leader once you are starting to work on this kind of issues. The same thing is mentioned here. I'm not going word by word. Now, adding the node or adding the devices in RMM. So you go to the RMM, you have to log into the RMM first. I did not log in the RMM, let me log in. Let me see the token. For some reason, token from my Zoho computer or installed in the browser doesn't work, so I have to fetch it from my app. Problem with the Zoho maybe. So you open up this interface. And search for the site name SSOL, which we are referring to for now. LAN tower SSOL, and we see the network. So technically, I'll add a device and I'll show you how it works. these are already added devices from the maintenance, and now from the backend, we add a device. We go to network, have the internal IP, let's say 172.16.100.207. This is a switch that has been added. The assign network node. Well, before you do this, we have to assign, see the network node. So we go back to, again, the workstation and see that desktop is having is in the same network. Now, if the same network doesn't mean it will be on the same IP, because sometimes the native network is different than the client network, and that computer should be a part of the client network, not the native network. But regardless, there is the network, the VLANs, the different VLANs can talk to each other to ensure that you're gonna do, like, let's pick up a network node, which is already set as a network node. And we see this one is the network node. Which one is the network node? We can technically see this here. You can have it is network node. Just tick that so that that populates up on the initial screen, and you will see this network node. Now, you should have technically one network node. If you have multiple network nodes and you are confused which one to add, just speak to your team leader or be the best judge. This is yes, so we are gonna just web remote into this and not remote into the computer. Instead, we're just gonna PowerShell. So you see this is having a different IP other than what we have here. It's 172.116, 100, and so on. But this is 192. We do a PowerShell and we just do a ping to the gateway 172.16.100.1. And yes, we have reply. So we know that the VLANs, that the computer can talk to the initial network. Also, we want to do to the switch. You see, we have a reply too. So this, after this is checked, come back to this add device, network device, and internal IP 207 that is pending to be added. Assign network node is this one. Type is either switch, router, UPS. In case of a PDU, you also use the UPS. And if it's access point, then we use, where is the access point? Let me see what was used here. Network. So this is AP. I believe the other was used in AP. If it's fixed, we will update the SOP. For now, we will use the other for adding the access point. That being said, again, I'll go back and add device. Network device, internal IP is this. Assign network node is this. Type is other, or rather type is switch for this case. Host name is the name that we find in the controller. So this is going to be USW. Let's copy this and put it here. This is going to be 02, and the location is going to be office or maintenance. And description is not required. There is existing SNMP credentials, that is the version 2, community public, no. The global one, the Zoho specified SNMP, we are going to put that and hit save. Description, let's put switch in office. Save. We will wait for some time, and this is going to show a screen very soon. And then we click this one, like in few hours, the monitoring monitor should populate. This is an automated process. You should be populating the monitor. In case there's any issues, please again reach out to your team lead. That's all about this one. And we have a little bit of more steps to further, like warranty expiration. We set a time 5 years from date of installation or date you're adding this. Not technically you're adding this, it should be from the date of installation. Since the date of installation is same as the date of adding, we just go to 2029 since it's 2024 now, and we hit 25th October 2029. So that is saved, and all about scheduling is done. Pretty much it's added, and alerts are set up. This is automated, and the task is completed. You put all your notes on the ticket and you send it to the you complete the ticket and it sends automatically sends it to your team leader. So that's all about this one, and this is scheduling of maintenance. Now, for offline devices that has been offline for more than 1 month, we are going to check that with the, like, we're going to obviously escalate those issues to team leader directly, and preferably we move it lost and found, but the decision is depending on your team lead. So if you see some kind of those devices, move those tickets to your team leads and discuss with them before you take any steps. That's all about the backend roles, and that is performed on a daily basis. So any queries?
No, none at the moment.
Okay, so that's all about it. Then we'll wrap up this call, and thank you so much for joining. Have a nice day. Bye.